Hello everybody, I just want to make this quick video here to answer a question that I had for myself, and if anyone else has this problem and doesn't know what to do, here's the solution. So the problem is that you have a repeater with an Allstar node on it and you want to disable the RF side's ability to control the node. So if someone spams their DTMF button, you don't want them to be able to affect your Allstar node in any way, right? You don't want them to be able to do anything. And there is no built-in function to do this in Allstar. There's no simple menu option you can change to do this. And even with an RCOM RC210 controller, which has DTMF muting, your only option is to mute DTMF for everything, which will make it so that the people listening on the RF side will hear silence when somebody's holding down a DTMF key, which is a solution partially, but it's not ideal. And there is a little bit of delay between when they start pushing the button and when the muting happens. So if they really knew what they were doing, they could still get in there, because there's a brief period where the Allstar node will still decode what's being pushed. So it's not a perfect solution. It's pretty good, but it's not a perfect solution. Ultimately, I want to be able to have the tones be audible to the listener, but not to the Allstar node, and I found out how to do it. So what you want to do is pull up your SSH into your Allstar node and go to the bash shell interface, and then you want to do cd/etc/*. So you want to go to the asterisk directory, and then you want to do nano rpt.conf. And in here you want to scroll down a couple pages here till you get to, I believe, simplex node settings, or it may be context mapping. Yeah, right here where it says context mapping. And you can do this on 2 different nodes if you want, or just the one, but it doesn't matter. You go down here, and where it says functions, normally this would be filled out. This would say functions 60334, because that's my node number. That's what it will look like normally. What you want to do is just change this to just functions 1 or something generic like that. And what you're essentially doing is you're telling all the DTMF functions, you're pointing, basically there's a library further down in the file which contains a list of all the DTMF codes, all the commands that you can run. What you're doing is you're pointing this functions thing to something that doesn't exist. You're basically deleting all the commands off the node. Like DTMF won't work anymore, no matter what. So you're just pointing it away from that list to a list that doesn't exist. And once you've changed that to 1, and you can do this for macros and the more stuff as well if you need to. This should be sufficient though for what I want to do. I've already tested it and it does what I want. So once you've just changed that line that says functions equals functions and change it to 1, hit Control O on your keyboard, hit enter to save the progress. And then you can do Control X to get out of here, and then type exit to exit that. And then if we go to the asterisk CLI client, and I pick up my handheld here, and we're going to push some DTMF commands, it gets the codes, but when you let go, nothing happens. Even if I run a command like *70, that should make it sit there and report the status of the node. But because there's no commands anymore, it'll decode the DTMF characters all day. Will never do anything with them. The only downside to this is if you want to use the rpt fun command 60334, and you want to do that command *70, it shouldn't work anymore. When you run a DTMF command, it's not going to work. So you are effectively disabling all commands that involve DTMF, and so you won't be able to run rpt fun. The only way you'll be able to control the node going forward is through Supermon, which, if you're just setting this up as a repeater site node, you're not worried about having to mess with it ever. You're only going to have one connection 24/7, just a single connection to a hub or something like that. This really isn't a problem. You can still do everything here. You can still connect, you can still disconnect, you can still use all of this, because this doesn't use DTMF to work. It's a direct connection into the asterisk server. So The only downside, like I said, is just you won't be able to do this anymore, and you won't be able to use DTMF. But if you really need to lock people out from using DTMF to control Allstar, that's the way to do it. Just point it to a list that doesn't exist, and that's about it. And I hope this video helped anybody who had this obscure problem. I couldn't find any other people posting about it online. No forum posts, no nothing. So the only thing I had seen was like people resorting to like compiling asterisk from scratch and editing the frequency responses of each DTMF command. I'm like, man, that's just ridiculous. So anyway, hopefully this helps. Hopefully this sheds some light on how you take care of this sort of problem. And there you go.